everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just waiting for a few more people to join us. We'll start in about 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's exciting to see so many different folks trickling in. We'll give you a couple seconds to settle in. Welcome, everyone, to the demo day for the Y-Lab Foundry program. We're so excited to be here at the National Gallery to present some of the amazing startups that have been on this journey. My name is Shreya. I'm a senior program manager at Dalberg. I'll be your MC today. Dalberg is an institution that works with various different organizations to create deep impact through strategy, innovation, investment, research, and design support. We've been a proud partner with the National Gallery on the Y-Lab program, and we're so excited and proud to bring these amazing 4 startups to you today. We're going to have the opportunity today to listen in and celebrate the achievements of these startups and the work that they've done with all of the different mentors across the gallery. As we celebrate them, we'll also want to recognize the efforts of the amazing Y-Lab team and Dalberg team that have worked really hard throughout this program, as well as today, to bring this amazing show to you. We'll get started today by hearing from our Director of Innovation and Technology. Then we'll go through the pitches for each of the startups, presenting their prototypes and the work that they've done through this program. And finally, you'll have a chance to also interact with the startups, network with them, and also get a chance to see their prototypes. If you haven't had a chance, and I'm glad I'm seeing some of you already scan, please do take a moment to scan for the Demo Day booklet, which will provide more information on all of these startups. Lastly, in case you haven't had a chance to look through the showcase already, you'll have about an hour at the end for networking and also to stop and talk to the startups. So as we jump in, I'd like to invite our welcome speaker, the Director of Innovation and Technology, who has not only been a supporter, but also a proud advocate for all of these different startups. Kevin.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, everyone, for coming down. We understand some of you have come all the way from the US, the UK, Italy, and Sweden. So we're very, very proud and very honored that some of you have actually come all the way and really committed to this. So again, good afternoon, everybody, and we appreciate your presence today. We're not just graced by the startups here. We're also graced with the presence of the mentors that are very important in nurturing these startups along the way with the gallery. Because the gallery might know a thing or two, but we don't know everything, and we really depend on the ecosystem of startups and mentors and VCs out there as well. Now, at this juncture, it's a really good reminder when we look back into this week alone, because it's been quite a while. It's quite a time, actually, that we live in right now, when we talk about the convergence of art, culture, and technology. Because this week alone, Chris and I, Chris is the assistant CE here, have been hosting so many tech and art-related events. It's quite phenomenal. Just this week alone, we had Communicating the Arts, which is a European-based conference that has, I think for the first time, moved over and hosted a session here in Singapore, and we're very proud to host them. So all these delegates from Europe are here. We were also a venue for Plug and Play, which is very popular and well-known in San Francisco. Plug and Play had a summit here yesterday, so it was incredible amount of energy that we had here. And now today we have the demo day for Y-Lab. So it's really a real good come together. Now, this is also a good reminder on the partnership economy that we live in. The gallery alone doesn't exist in vacuum. We are really dependent and want to be part of the ecosystem that's out there. And Singapore and the whole, the rest of the region as well as the rest of the world was really well connected because of our interest in innovation and disruptive technologies. So perhaps alongside that, it's also a good indicator of how far we've come, because for those of you who are not familiar with the gallery, we really have this museum or this art gallery has really been around for just coming to 10 years. And as a nation, we're a very young nation just coming to 60 years as of next year. So can you imagine that unlike the other developed countries or cities around the world, we have a long road ahead in trying to establish art and culture as part of the everyday life for most Singaporeans, most of the people that live in our country, because we're still very economically driven. Which then brings back the point, why innovation and why the gallery? The way we see it is that the gallery is looking at the world's largest collection of visual arts from modern art in Singapore and Southeast Asia. And we know that that can be quite a difficult topic for an average Singaporean to really digest. So in a sense, we've got a very tough product to really sell, and because of the propensity of technology adoption here in Singapore, you've probably heard about 300% mobile phone penetration. Incredible that a person can have multiple devices all the time. The propensity for someone to be very tech savvy is an opportunity for the gallery to really tap into and use technology as a bridge to connect with art. And that's what our team is really banking on and really investing on. Since COVID, Chris and the teams here have invested a lot in digital experiences. So you see ticketing kiosks and all that. We've invested in Tammy, the robotics that goes around giving tours. And soon we've been investing a lot in Web3 technologies that hopefully can come to the light of day as well. So these are very exciting ventures that will come up soon. And we will continue to work with you guys to imagine what the future of museums could look like. Now, to increase the relevance of the gallery with our what we call hyper-connected audiences, there's a strong, sustained need to always leverage new tools and technologies. And just to give you a sense, we already have started work into generative AI and how it can play a part in both the work experience for our colleagues as well as the visitor experience and how they interface with art. We are also have been and will be doubling down on affordances around autonomous robots that can do tasks on its own, okay, rather than follow a script. We have also been experimenting on NFTs. We believe in a strong untapped utility around that, so we're still working on that part. And like it or not, there's still this talk about metaverses that people aren't sure about, but we're also still working our way around it together with National Art Council, right? As part of the Arts Plan 2.0. Now, having studied the global landscape, competitive landscape for cultural innovations, most developed countries have developed museums that have their own innovation labs within their building and all that. So we do see varying amounts of investments and maturity there. And from market scan, this is why at the gallery, we do have this level of investment of a program that is run, which is the Y-Lab Foundry you see today, as well as the two spaces, the Y-Lab Showcase at the basement level, as well as the Y-Lab Workspace, which is meant for the startups to reside in, as places that acknowledge our commitment to try and foster innovation in the art and culture scene. Now, if you're wondering, hey, innovation is a very big term, and yes, there are many types of innovation, more than 20 different types of definitions of innovation out there. The type that we want to bring forward can be classified into a smart museum framework. We call it a smart museum framework, and it revolves around almost like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, whereby we've got three. We've got the art experience, any technology that helps with the increased appreciation of art. That can be things like generative AI, can be augmented reality and all that. These are things that we invest in a lot because it's our core business, all right? There's also the visitor experience, the way in which people get their tickets, wayfind, and find what they need from a museum, because everybody that comes to a museum comes for various different purposes. That is the visitor experience, and that's technology that can cater for that level. And finally, we also have innovations for the work experience, where we talk to our different constituents around the gallery, where they do their work. What can we do to further improve the productivity levels and reduce the number of steps involved in trying to get things done? So these are the ways in which we think about innovation, how we classify it. And today, you will start to see the 5 startups actually come together, again, from the UK, the US, Italy, and Sweden. They've been handpicked at the gallery, thanks to the hard work of Dalberg in trying to really go out there and find really interesting startups. We had a very hard time trying to decide which are the top 5 that ought to come with, work with us. And for the past 3 months to 4 months, they've been working hard with different key stakeholders here at the gallery as business owners to work out problem statements and work out solutions. So today, you really see the fruits of this labor. You will see that we've covered the areas of mixed reality, so there are a few projects around that. You'll also see some AI-driven data analytics work that's being done as well. And finally, some advent into online learning, because we still feel that there's a lot of opportunity there to be explored. Okay? So by embarking on this journey with the Y-Lab, the gallery continues to deliver its overall mission of being a progressive, people-oriented museum that aims to be more progressive and accessible to all. So with that, we hope you enjoy your sharing that the startups will have today, and please do enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for setting the stage and for your encouraging words about our startups. Before I hand over to the startups, and I know that's what we're eagerly waiting for, I want to double down on Kevin's thank you to our mentors. We had 8 amazing mentors supporting these startups, really who invested their time, their expertise, and provided their guidance right from the get-go. The startups would not be here without you, and this program would not be the same without your support. So thank you. We also want to take a moment to thank our program partners who provided resources and expertise across the board. And finally, congratulations to the stars of the show. We'll dive right in. We're so proud of the progress you've made. We're so impressed with the work you've done, and we can't wait to see where you go from here. So without further ado, let me bring on our first few teams. Before I do that, we'll have a 7-minute presentation from the teams in terms of format. Please do take a moment to scan this QR code. Yes, we're all about the QR codes, to put in your questions here so we're able to facilitate and get your questions answered. I'll apologize ahead of time as I facilitate this. If I miss your question, please do take the opportunity to network with the startups later, but I will try to get through as many questions as I can. Now, let me start with our first startup. So, they're pioneers of location-based audio that crafts cinematic and immersive audio experiences, and I really do hope you have a chance to experience them. Bringing on Magic Beans, Gareth.
Thank you for that excellent introduction. I'm Gareth Llewellyn. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Magic Beans. And we are a mixed reality audio company. We give audiences special 3D headphones, and they're then free to roam a space where virtual sounds appear in their environment as if they're really happening there. And we create cinematic audio experiences that we can map to real-world spaces. So the challenge, well, put simply, audio tours have not really fundamentally changed in 70 years, but audiences have, particularly in recent years. There have been some audio tour innovations in terms of queuing up the right sounds at the right time, but at the end of the day, these are flat, linear experiences. But what has changed are the audiences, especially younger generations, and their expectations of what constitutes an engaging experience. And after 70 years, there's a now large gap between what traditional gallery audio experiences can offer and the interactive, engaging, and immersive experiences that audiences seek out and enjoy elsewhere. And so we've got a new generation of gallery visitors that expects to be entertained, as well as informed and guided through an immersive experience. So what's the solution? Well, our aim is to solve for these problems by providing an audio solution that's more entertaining and informative for audiences, that will guide them more smoothly and precisely through a given environment and will improve footfall, engagement, and hopefully revenues for the institution. So here's what we did. We began with the challenge statements put forward by the gallery, and 3 of them immediately caught our eye. Ensure that all visitors are seamlessly guided, enable audiences with different levels of art knowledge to connect to the art easily, and foster awe and wonder. Now, these challenges come together in our belief that a new generation of gallery visitors expects to be entertained and educated and inspired, and they want to be guided through an experience that really immerses them in the amazing stories and art that's available in this gallery. So our aim has been to create a prototype that can help the gallery to meet these challenges. So what do we do? Well, our concept was actually very simple. We wanted to tell a story using sound that would unfold within a particular part of the gallery. This is Echoes of the Past, a mixed reality audio tour for the National Gallery. To explain what this is, I should probably tell you what we mean by mixed reality. It's a technical and creative approach that we've been developing that enables us to use a real-time 3D acoustic simulation which we map to a physical environment. So you can place a voice on the mouth of a statue, and when someone walks near it, it will sound exactly as if that statue is talking to you. Now, there are 3 parts to creating this kind of audio illusion. First is tracking. We need to track precisely the location of everyone's ear canals in real time. The second is an acoustic simulation that's realistic enough to trick your mind into believing that these sounds are actually happening in the space around you. The third part is the creation of a compelling story, perhaps the most important, that is supported by great performance and great sound design. So we worked very closely with the gallery team led by Jean Hare to develop a narrative that would resonate in some particular part of the gallery. We came up with this. Echoes of the Past takes place in one of the backlot areas of the gallery. Back when this building was used as a Supreme Court, there was a dark, narrow corridor that used to take prisoners from the holding cells up to the dock of the courtroom. And we developed a concept that would tell the story of one of the prisoners who was taken through this route and was ultimately executed for his crimes. And of course, Singapore being a place that loves a good ghost story, we've told the story of the character as a ghost that appears to you in the corridor and who unveils his story to you as you sort of travel along the path that ultimately led to his death. So audiences wearing our special 3D headphones can hear these sounds in the corridor coming from that environment as if it's really happening. So we've created a spooky, informative, and thrilling cinematic sound experience for the gallery, turning a rather ordinary and underutilized part of the gallery into an exciting narrative space that guides and entertains the audience. So the learnings, what have we learned? Lots of things. Audiences respond very well to sound experiences. There's a very visceral, emotional connection through hearing and to sound, and it's very good, thankfully, at creating a sort of a spooky environment. We learned very much that stories need to be grounded in the environment. So you need visuals, you need to embody these sounds in the real built environment. So sounds come from objects, might come from a painting, might come from a prop in there. And the audiences want guidance as well as freedom. They want to be able to walk around, but they want to be able to have the stories told to them at their own pace. Now, one of the limitations we had with this prototype was it wasn't possible to do enough iterations to make it a fully automated system. So the shortcut we used was that I would sort of walk audiences along the corridor and make sure they didn't walk past the story or go at a different pace. And we tried to cram a lot of story into what's quite a small little corridor. Ideally, you'd tell the story over a much longer time frame and over a larger area, similar to the way that immersive theatre productions do this, like Punch Drunk, Secret Cinema, where the story's a little bit impressionistic, it's in fragments and it emerges from the experience and it's sort of directed by the personal journeys of the audience members. Going forward, so where do we see this go next? So we're currently creating a number of new narrative and experiential concepts using our mixed reality audio approach. Next week, we're unveiling the Spatial Silent Disco at Immersive Tech Week in the Netherlands. We give audiences a pair of headphones and haptic vests And they can move around a dance floor that's got this sort of physically moving piece of physical audio, bit of electronic music playing all around them. After that, we're going to take it to South by Southwest, where it will be hosted at the British Music Embassy, if anyone's out there in March. And at the same time, we're developing an immersive theatre production using this tech, which will be a quite complex theatrical narrative that will unfold for audiences in real time in a free roam space. And finally, we hope the National Gallery and other Singaporean institutions will also want to take advantage of this new way to tell physical stories to their visitors. There will be an opportunity for some lucky people to try this tech later. There's a few slots, so come and have a look near the Magic Beans area and you'll find out how to do that. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks, Gareth. I'm waiting for all of the questions to load. Thank you, folks. Please continue to put your questions in. But maybe we'll take one question to start with. How do you see this being used in museums in general in the future?
Yeah. So we try to tell a lot of story in a small space. So the obvious thing is to do this over a larger area with lots more people. And for that, you need to think really about how that fits in and how the story can emerge from the space. There are limitations. We have to use a tracking system. We have to onboard people with headphones, but it's a little bit like being onboarded with an audio tour. So I don't think there's a necessarily resistance to that. So we see it as a next stage of being in a special area of the gallery. I don't think there's so something that might be a ticketed part, and you have a full immersive experience, perhaps with environmental sounds and sort of information. Yeah.
Awesome. And maybe I'll combine a couple questions and ask them. How can this be scaled further, and what are the limitations to scale this to a larger audience?
Yeah, so our ambition is for this to be hundreds of people. So I think the spatial silent disco concept, there's nothing fundamentally stopping there being hundreds and hundreds of people doing this. One aspect, especially in a museum environment, is there is tracking hardware that has to be put out. We put a little camera on the side of the headphones, making it inside-out tracking, but that requires some sort of markers in the space. They have to be sympathetic, I think, in a gallery or museum space, that doesn't impact aesthetically and technically in the environment. But if you overcome those hurdles, there's not really a limitation. You can have multi-room, multiple people, large spaces.
Awesome. I think we're almost at time, but I'll take one last one. What is the cost of implementing this solution for an exhibit? Is this expected to be recovered from higher visitor fees or something else?
Yeah, that's the sort of how long is a ball of string? I've got about 10 seconds. How long is a ball of string? Look, this can definitely be recovered rapidly through a small cost of taking this out. So I think it should be self-supporting after a month, let's say. But, you know, the more people, the more hardware, so it's a balance. You know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gareth. And there are many more questions, so I'm sure you'll have many visitors coming to you. Thanks, Gareth. Great. Next up, and very aptly, as I think many of the parents and uncles and aunts and mentors in the audience will know, the school holiday is coming next week. Let's talk a bit about technology and education. So we'll hear from Mind Tourism, our next startup, a startup working to engage learners in real time through VR gaming. Jonathan, the stage is yours.
So hey everyone, how's everyone doing? So hi, my name is Jonathan and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mind Tourism, where we turn visitor experiences into an adventure. Okay, so this is the first slide. Right, so basically we help our clients to engage and acquire young audiences through this kind of interactive visitor experiences, through gamification, AR, augmented reality and AI. And some of you might know us from the brand name of Jomija. So we first started during the height of the pandemic, working with online engagement for schools. We were funded by Antler then. And today we are proud to have rebranded into Mind Tourism, where we start to look into the physical world and how to overlay digital elements and our game mechanics into it. And we are so proud to be working in the arts and culture sector. Right, so the two key challenge statements that we have chosen to work with are firstly to facilitate the social experience with a blending of the physical and digital elements that was mentioned by Kelvin, and particularly for the average Singaporeans and for children in general. And secondly, also to foster that kind of cognitive stimulation through these kinds of new and engaging museum experiences. So last year we went to Japan, so we were very inspired, a bit of an otaku. So we went treasure hunting and hunting digital monsters in the middle of nowhere, and we actually spent about 3 to 5 hours. But instead of having big TV sets and treasure chests, we instead turned existing features, landmarks and artworks, into what we call AR markers. And basically these AR markers are connected to a gamified app. And players have to search the gallery to scan for these kind of features just by using their mobile device, in our case. Yeah, so the objective is very similar to that of a treasure hunt. I'm sure many of you have played before. Basically search for quests, collect the bounty. The bounty in this case would be coins, and exchange the coins for souvenirs, which a lot of people have feedback to me. Yeah? And we are proud and grateful to have been hosted by the audience engagement and programs team with Dee and Faz. And we are also happy to be working on a project that we will be launching next year on the National Gallery Building History Program. And arbitrarily, I gave it a name, RDC, which is maybe not so creative. Yeah, so here's how it works, right? So basically, you just scan a QR code first to load the web app. So that's our prototype. Currently, there's no need to download because we all know we hate downloading apps in public. And secondly, you get to meet our storyteller, our guide. This is called Pix. Basically, we'll be doing the introduction and the storytelling throughout the game. And after the introduction, I'm sure some of you have played Pokemon Go before. There will be the quest, and you can see the quest button. And yeah, you can also see the coin bounties above the individual quests. So you can actually start anywhere, and I think this is what the gallery has requested us, so sort of let the players chart their own experience. So once you have clicked on the Foundation Stone quest, you get a bit of history, an introduction of what the quest is, as well as a bit of a clue on what the AR marker is. So in this case, it's an image that you have to find at the foyer area. So once you scan it, you get a little quest. In this case, it's an AR quest. So it's an observation quest that you have to sort of figure out the password by observing the miners, because that's kind of the history of the place where they are digging up stuff and coins pop up. And so there could be quite a few variety of quests, like puzzles, quizzes, and so on, and we are very happy to explore them. And after that, initially I wanted to give out the coins, but the gallery said, let's not make it too easy. Let's make them catch the coins as well to create a bit of a buzz. So this one is more like the pinball style, but I have a lot more tougher ones in mind. So of course it involves a bit of skills and adrenaline, and evens out the distribution in terms of the coin leaderboard. And lastly will be the souvenir redemption. So I understand that the gallery also wants to reward players who spend more time at the gallery so they can earn more coins. So it's like a tiered system for souvenir redemption. And this is one way that we do it. And yeah, and they mentioned they would like to have a survey where the players sort of give a certain rating and give a feedback. Yeah, so this is a summary of all the prototype features, and basically the idea is to provide a fun and engagement, and also the cognitive engagement to visitors, especially children, and the motivation and incentive to sort of complete the entire experience as opposed to leaving off halfway, and also the flexibility to chart their own experience, and hopefully through the games they will be able to retain and bring back some knowledge. So in terms of the benefits to the gallery, we hope that this will generate buzz for the gallery. And also I understand that this will be a paid experience. So hopefully there will be an additional revenue stream and also additional visitor insights. So as to the last point on insights, throughout the entire prototyping phase, I was actually studying the number of players as well as the amount of time they spent on each quest to sort of gauge the difficulty. So at the pie chart on the right, you can see the number of players dropping out by distribution. And the green one is the AR game, which is the toughest, which is expected. But in a way, we have sort of created a new source of data points for the analytics team, or we could also work with Culture Hint, who will be presenting after me. Yeah, so generally we got a very positive feedback. We have a score of 4.5 on the survey. Many like the cute graphics, the interactive adventure stuff. But of course, it being a prototype and a web-based, we still have to work a little bit on the UI part. in terms of the narrative and some clearer instructions. But that is something that we can definitely work out in the next step. So some unique key learnings that are very different from my past game projects. Firstly, I'm told to expect some changes in exhibits. These exhibits could be sudden as well. Secondly, to be quite sensitive to the artwork, especially specific artworks, because we are trying to augment certain images in the game. And the varying visitor profiles, like the amount of time they spend in the gallery, and maybe the language issues as well. So these are things to be considered in the next step. So what could be next? So the first one is the perennial problem of getting lost, which is so big, the gallery. So we thought of having an AR wayfinding. I've tested at the ground floor, it works. So this could be something that could be interesting as well. Secondly, the gallery team mentioned that sometimes you need to sort of switch over to tactile materials to sort of reduce the digital fatigueness of players. And we thought of training AI storytelling with pics to make it more interesting and more spontaneous. And lastly, to create a certain admin settings for the gallery to sort of make adjustments just in case certain quests needs to be closed for the particular day without having to go through me. Yeah, so our vision is really to have like a big discovery platform working with more programs and more museums and galleries and even the tourism sector within Singapore, and that is of course a vision. And in fact, this could be also part of a tour package in the future. That's something, of course, is something to be discussed with the gallery, but that's definitely our vision for the long future, and yeah, hopefully the cute graphics shows you that. And lastly, and of course to support that vision, we would like to ask for any warm introduction to any other departments, programs, museums and galleries and public institutions who may like this kind of interactive learning journeys, because we really base our work and services on word of mouth and warm context. And of course, us being a startup, we also are looking for avenues for grants and funding. Right, with that in mind, really thank you so much for this opportunity, and feel free to come to my booth and try out the game. We are giving out souvenirs, and yeah, and you can also try it now by scanning it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. I hope everyone has a chance to try the game. I will say I was not collecting, but I got much better and was very competitive. So, okay, coming to questions. Who is your target audience? And combined with that, the web app experience seems to be targeted to younger children. Is that intentional? How can we broaden its appeal?
So that is a very good question. Yeah, it looks like it's targeted at children, but as I mentioned, I'm one of those people who went to Japan to hunt digital monsters. So it's not true that it appears limited to children. I think adults in general will also be appealed by it, especially youth today, especially for the non-art engaged audience. And growing up with a little bit of ADHD, I've always feel that I need to be cognitively stimulated. My mind is always very, very busy. Even at the museum experience, I find that I need to do something and complete certain missions in order to sort of understand what the whole experience is about. And yeah, so I do think that in terms of the content and the narrative could also be expanded to the general wider audiences, yeah, apart from children. Yeah.
Great. And there are a couple other questions about the setup time and process. What is that like? Is it generally just a template or something more?
Yeah, so the basic infrastructure has a certain template to it, so that allows us to quickly roll it out. So if you notice, most of the quests, they are modular. In a way, like it allows the gallery to remove certain quests or add in certain quests. So that's what the gallery wanted, a certain kind of freedom. So that allows us to implement things really quickly and take out certain features, as opposed to a fixed storyline trail that is very dependent on a linear path. Yeah. So I think that takes a longer time to do it. And basically, yeah, I've worked on a couple of these projects in the past. I've actually just put in some game mechanics in it, so it's actually not, it doesn't take very long to implement. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you, Suya. Okay, thank you.
It's always an MC's favorite moments when one presenter introduces the next presenter. You may have heard Jonathan already give Culture Hint a shout out, but let me try to do an introduction for them as well. Our lives are driven by data today. There's a lot that powers our lives. Our next startup uses data and AI to revolutionize the management of venues, destinations, and cities. Welcoming Cesare from Culture Hint.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cesare from Culture Hint. We are a London software company, and we are all about data integration and forecasting. So the type of challenges that we tackled can start with, well, this sentence from someone in your department, perhaps, or in your organization. Maybe that someone is you. Saying something like, our data is spread across different departments, different systems, CRM, ticketing, but we need a holistic view on the visitor, because being a visitor experience, being a visitor venue, you want to have one single view, not spread across different systems. Or things like, we get reports and analytics on what happened last week or last quarter, and those are amazing, but by the time we get them, it's too late to change things. So those are the two types of challenges that we set out to solve with Culture Hint. And our solution is in 3 steps. First, we monitor by integrating your data about visitors, understanding visitors' behaviors across different systems, and not just from, let's say, surveys or ticketing systems. Then, our algorithm forecasts visitor behaviors for the upcoming periods, giving you enough time to make decisions. And then, step 3, we improve. So finally, our optimization engine improves your performances by suggesting marketing and operational changes based on the forecast. So our clients, for example, include museums, such as, of course, the National Gallery, but also the Postal Museum in London, destinations such as Singapore Tourism Board or Malta Tourism Authority, government bodies such as the Superintendence of Cultural Heritage in Malta, and cities such as the Circe councils in Italy. Our project with the National Gallery was really driven by a very specific scope. And the amazing team at the gallery helped us really drill down on a very specific scope, because the whole thing was done in 3 months. So the idea was to use data to assess the impacts on visitors across different systems. And specifically, we tackled the problem of data integration and usage. So this corresponds to step 1 of our 3-step solutions, monitoring. So the gallery, as many visitor-oriented institutions, has multiple data sources on the same visitor. And so it's often difficult to get a clear picture of the visitor's behavior. So this translates in a lot of time spent integrating data and makes it very difficult to take informed decisions based on and plan according to visitors' behavior. So our unique selling proposition, if you will, or our specialty is, because we have a software on the back of it, it's not a one-off project that we do, we get it done quickly and efficiently. So we started with the National Gallery with data integration, joining together the gallery's internal data sources, including, for example, the CRM, the membership system, and so on. Then we jumped to clustering, or subdividing the visitors in different segments that are similar within the same segments and different enough from other segments. So we started removing unusable accounts or variables. We removed outliers, people who behave significantly differently than everyone else, and we then produced a clusterization. Then we plugged that in with external data that we gather through external data providers, and those are data sets that correlate with demand. For example, airport traffic data or cruise liners data. These are data that we have through our external deals with API connections with data providers. We identified 11 segments, from advanced preppers to OTA aficionados. And specifically, I want to talk to you about 3 segments that we believe have a great potential for the gallery. Number 1, ticket aficionados. So those are individuals who purchase a substantial amount of tickets, 11.5 tickets per person. Those people are a great resource for the gallery, but they're not members yet. So the galleries can do 2 things with them. One is use them as brand ambassadors to promote the gallery's activities with family and friends. And 2 is to really upsell to them premium experiences at a higher price value. Second, patron elders. So this cluster consists of patrons, generally older, and cluster as a whole has an average age of 55 years. The younger cluster had 37 years of age as an average. This cluster shows a preference for tour tickets and membership programs. So here, the gallery is doing great. Finally, premium buyers. So this cluster stands out for booking more expensive tickets at an average value per booking of 40 plus Singapore dollars. And they want a premium experience. So here, the gallery can really upsell to them and just get them the premium and personalized experiences that they really are looking after. So the impact. Now, I want to make one thing clear. The gallery already had segmentation done. For example, a typical museum segmentation that can be based on surveys. But what we really did was to put the data together for the innovation and technology team, right? But also for the gallery as a whole. So this enables the gallery to assess its impact on the visitor across multiple data sources. And for example, the segmentation that was previously done on surveys can be integrated now with this segmentation. Of course, you can't do it the other way around, right? So the clusters then can enable a more targeted approach to marketing. And then what? So then our software, and this is step 2 and step 3, if you remember from the beginning, starts forecasting visitors' behaviors across different segments independently. So the forecast then can enable more targeted marketing because the marketing team knows in advance which segments they're going to target in different geographies. Things different countries, for example, promotions in different locations, and this then increases visitor numbers. So if your organization or your department is in the process of dealing with or has a challenge with data integration across different systems, forecasting visitors' behaviors or targeting specific audience groups, then we're here to help. And then, of course, you may have questions, but if you want to learn more about what we do, especially the parts that we have not yet implemented for the National Gallery, please come and see me at the booth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cesare. Let's start with who are your potential and or current partners and clients? Can you tell us a bit more?
Yeah, so we service 3 different segments. So one segment is venues, for example, the National Gallery again. Another is destinations as a whole. So these would be, for example, Malta Tourism Authority. And this is, we serve the whole country in this case, predicting visitors' patterns from different countries, for example, arrivals. And then the third one is cities. So here we work directly with the mayor's office, and we do forecasting at the whole city level. So we fence off the whole city, we monitor the data for the whole town or city, and then we do the prediction for that.
Got it. And I think this is a related question. Can this be used to suggest similar future experiences, perhaps even worldwide, that the consumer might enjoy?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Okay, what kind of experiences are we talking about? Who asked the question? I'm really curious here. Okay, which experiences are you thinking about?
Specific experience, say, at this gallery, and perhaps if they give, I mean, of course, with permission and consent, that this system would be able to suggest something like similar.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a great infrastructure of like clients that you serve worldwide. So, I mean, picking up on these things, then can the consumer also be able to go to similar experiences that they might enjoy if they give consent?
We actually do that, for example, for destinations. So a destination may have multiple attractions. Of course, in the case of Malta, it could be multiple museums or sites. So we can actually cross-fertilize between the different sites based on audience behavior, and also use it to decongest certain areas and provide more visitors for areas that are underdeveloped or have lower touristic levels or visitation levels. So absolutely yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cesare. But there are many more questions, so I'm sure you'll have a ton of traffic coming your way. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. So we're at our last presentation of the day, but I promise you our last speaker will continue to have your interest piqued. We're so excited. He's traveled here all the way from the US. We're excited to have Kaleido. Kaleido uses social, shopping, and augmented reality to transform the way art is experienced. Ian, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Ian Ponchev, and I'm the founder of Kaleido. Kaleido is an interactive media platform for the visual arts. It's a very inventive product, and we're building at the intersection of three key themes. The first is social community. When you open the Kaleido web or mobile application, you'll experience a sort of Instagram-like environment dedicated for the visual arts. Here, you can also buy artwork. So the second theme is online marketplace. You can purchase directly from artists or from galleries around the world. And the artwork that you do buy unlocks magical augmented reality experiences in the Kaleido mobile app, which you will see here in a moment. We've been building quietly in beta for 2 years now. We haven't done any formal marketing, and yet already over 22,000 artists from 150 different countries have published over 100,000 artworks to Kaleido, so we are thrilled with the traction that we have thus far. In terms of our collaboration with the National Gallery, we focused on the particular challenge around attracting and engaging museum audiences. The reality is that consumer habits today are rapidly changing. Consumers are spending more and more time across social, mobile, and virtual platforms. So given these digital-first behaviors, how can museums evolve to continue to attract and engage these audiences? What we have done as our prototype is we've built an entirely new product vertical within Kaleido, leveraging our existing platform functionalities. This is a virtual exhibition platform for the gallery and museums around the world, which allows them to publish their content directly to Kaleido, and thereby appearing across our web, mobile, and AR/VR products. I want to be clear about something. This is less about building digital experiences in the gallery space, and it's more about engaging with people outside of the gallery, sharing your content and your brand with people around the world, and encouraging them to come visit. So what happens is, a number of things happen when artwork is shared by a museum on Kaleido. First, we create an event page, which will allow you to publish the exhibition content and presents that to our global user base. Second, Kaleido's location services will alert local Kaleido users and encourage them to come and visit new events and exhibitions. And third, our augmented reality experiences activate for the artwork that is on display. So let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what that is.
Join me as I showcase the page of the National Gallery Singapore, where users can dive into specific details of the artwork. But also discover ongoing museum exhibitions. And navigate to find Singapore's galleries and artists. Experience our AR scanning, listen to artwork narrations, follow artists, and favorite artworks.
I hope you like that. But there is one more thing. Early next year, Apple is launching its first mixed reality device. This is the Apple Vision Pro, and it will allow you to toggle from AR to VR experiences. And I am thrilled to announce for the first time publicly that we are building a new application that is native to the Vision Pro. We're calling it the Art Universe, and we're asking ourselves, what does the Netflix of fine art look like if artwork is interactive and immersive in mixed reality? Here, you'll be able to discover the art of elite contemporary artists from around the world. You'll be able to jump into immersive art installations and VR art experiences. And of course, you'll be able to enjoy guided tours from partner museums. So let's take a look at what we're building for the Vision Pro. And one comment I'll make before I turn the video on here is, we set sort of a background image of a gallery hallway. That's not what the application actually does. You have to imagine this content in your actual environment, right? So it's more of an augmented reality experience. But I'll go ahead and play it. So this is just a carousel of museum partners, a panorama that wraps around you, and then you can start the tour.
National Gallery Singapore is a leading visual arts institution that oversees the world's largest public collection of Singapore and Southeast Asian modern art. Situated at the birthplace of modern Singapore, in the heart of the Civic District, the gallery is housed in two national monuments, City Hall and the former Supreme Court, that have been beautifully restored and transformed into this exciting 64,000 square meter venue. War and Peace is a thought-provoking oil-on-canvas artwork measuring 93.7 centimeters in height and 140.3 centimeters in width, created by Hendra Gunawan in 1950. In Indonesia's fight for independence, from 1945 to 1949, Hendra Gunawan, part of the frontline painters, sketched scenes from the front lines for later paintings. This post-war artwork reflects his battle experiences, incorporating a symbolic reference to mountains, representing inspiration and strength in Javanese tradition.
Again, the Vision Pro comes out next year, and we will be on the device from day one. I was told it might be a good idea to mention a little bit about our fundraise. Kaleido is currently completing its seed round. We're raising $900,000 at a $6 million valuation, and we have a $500,000 allocation still available. In terms of my background, I'm an experienced technology entrepreneur. I've started 4 different tech startups prior to Kaleido. I'm a professional product manager. I once ran an advanced technologies R&D lab in Silicon Valley. I have a bachelor's from Yale and an MBA from Stanford. My co-founders include Cesar Biojo, an internationally recognized artist, and Madeline Barbulesco, a 1000X engineer who leads our technology efforts. And I would love the opportunity to get to know you further. Of course, I'll be down there with a booth, so if you have more questions or would like to see Kaleido in more detail, I'll be happy to show what we've built. I also have the Vision OS simulator running, so we can actually spend some more time looking at the art universe if that has piqued your interest. And if you want to talk further, ian@kaleido.art. And finally, I encourage you to scan the QR code, the Kaleido app on either iPhone or Android, and
prototypes as you go through the experiences within the gallery, now and later as you visit. We hope that you've had a chance to download some of the QR codes in the apps. If you have not, please do let us know, and we can share that information with you as well. And then finally, please do, for any questions that we haven't had a chance to answer, please do take a moment to meet with the founders, watch their prototypes, and engage with them further. We'll have the showcase coming up right after this, and then we'll also have a few refreshments and things like that as we go through, but we would request if you could take the moment to input all of your feedback on both of the questions that should be popping up on your screen right now. Yeah, do we have the QR code up there? Yeah. Yeah, it should be the Slido. If you see the polls, if you go to the poll section, Audrey, do we have both questions up? I think some of the folks can't see the second question. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's popped up now, so everyone can add in their comments. Our second question is quite exciting, so we definitely don't want to miss that question and miss your inputs on that question as well. And as you're answering this question as well, like we had promised at the beginning, Magic Beans will be taking folks on a first-come, first-served basis to the experience. I just did it. It's quite spooky and fun, so I highly recommend it. Please do go by his booth and try and check out the experience as well, starting from 7 o'clock onwards. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for your encouragement and support for all of these startups. We'll move on to the networking, and we also have refreshments, so please do take a moment to speak with each other, connect with each other and the startups. Thank you so much.